All right, part 3. This one we're going to actually set up the health bar. Stamina bar is going to be the same thing, so I might not show it. But coming into this, if you actually downloaded my asset, you actually have some stuff from Mage Hunter floating up here. The goal in that one is actually, well, it's actually done over in my broken project, is you have a red circle and a blue circle. Mine's breath for underwater and health. And then that Mage Hunter stuff plugs in. It's not really going to work right here. There's other changes I had to make, but that asset is old enough, apparently, that it was saved whenever things were just floating off here that I was about to do. But I can explain most of this to you. When we come over here, you get the coordinate value, texture coordinates, and they're set to 2, 2, coordinate 0, same normal stuff. But you can see it's like set to preview. It's got the little shaded colors. Yep. And I'm pretty sure that has to do with like where things are located on the textures, like green, 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 like, and then red, 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 and the way it fades over. Actually does stuff, but you do a 1-, which you can tell actually flips it around. It also just makes it a lot sharper here for some reason. But this is what gets the actual bar down at the bottom, down here. And then you make a custom rotator, which is actually where we're going to start. This actually sets the start point. It's actually a parameter. So if you want the bar to, like this black line over here on this radial gradient to move around, that parameter, you change it, and it'll actually turn this around. And the rotation center is actually just the center of wherever the circle is, which is 0. And then the, yeah, 0.25. And if I remember right, this 0.25 is, you know what, we can preview it over there, so let's just double check it real fast so you can see what happens without you having to play with it. Maybe I should let you play with it, because I assume you're on something a little better than mine. And we'll have to go through this again whenever I move it back. Now I'm a bit flummoxed with that 0.25 there is for, because we didn't get a flip right there. That actually might be what you need to seal it up, because these are really bad about not having an actual complete circle. Even at 100% full, you'll get a little notch, and that was why it was real hard to even find a texture that was reasonable, and it went and found a place to teach me how to do this mathematically. Custom rotator is what turns it into the actual radial. And rotated values, which is like it spins them around. Like, think one of those old things that you put the paint in while it spins around, but less messy, less cleanup, less angry parents. But it basically smears it around rather in a circle rather than, it's not smeared, but it rotates it around. So you get the rotated values of it compared to it actually just being this linear across the thing. Turn the vector to a radial value. The vector UV is 2. And take the swizzle coordinate, output B vector coordinated to angle. Not gonna lie, no idea, but this is vector to radial value. I can probably create a little preview note over here, and we can actually see the difference probably, which I will try to do this so that you don't have to, because for one, I'm curious. Why did I think there was actually just a note for preview? Is there not? Okay, apparently this custom rotator, we just spun it. That's all we did there. There we go. That's what we did. We rotated it around. That makes sense. And then this one, well, this recorder was off. I could have probably set in texture nodes and put them in there and did a little drop down thing and actually seen out. All right, and then the vector to radial is what actually does the spin around and smears it around. There we go. You can see like the red is actually around and the green is over here, so it actually makes it fade around instead of up and over. That one X turning that one corner black still blows my mind because it just doesn't seem like it should do that since it's supposed to be the inverse really, but is the inverse of yellow black. All right, and then this right here is actually a switch on parameter, and it's named clockwise. So whenever you actually set up your dynamic material instance, you'll have a little tick box in there on whether it fills in clockwise or fills in counterclockwise. And so you put this 1x or 1 minus up here, plug it in, and then do normal. And so inverse or regular. Health, this is just a scalar value which you can hold 1, click, and you can promote it to a parameter to get that, or you can actually go in there with the right click and do a parameter. Yeah, I always do it the other way. I can't spell parameter. I really can. I'm just lazy. It's currently clamped at 0 to 1. I'm planning on not really having a whole bunch of health gain or anything like for higher levels of health, so I'm going to actually make it work on the percent just by default, so we don't have to do math with that. So clamped 0 to 100. And then this is the complete range where it actually completes at. So it's actually going to have a slider max of 100 now and a default value of 100. And you multiply those in and you times it by that clockwise. You floor it, which I should know what a floor does. I believe it takes off all the decimal stuff. Since I'm not using decimals, I don't think I need that anymore. That just got really I might be, let's complete range. Let's move that back real fast, because one of these actually gives it a little bit of blur around the edge. And I think I just changed the wrong one, which is kind of weird. Especially with the health up there. Yeah, that gives it the blurred edges. I'm not sure whether that's on complete range. I may have named it wrong way back in the day and then just been like, nah, it's fine. And that's why you make comments when you code. Let's see how it looks if I move it to 0.5 just to see. Okay, yeah. That is actually the circle. It's got to say at 1 and 1 and 1. Sadly, this doesn't. It's not a material instance. Yeah, that's what that is right there. Boom. Bringing in floor, that should just be for a decimal. Since I'm not using that anymore, I should be able to. You know what? No, because completed range is still going to be a decimal, so we're going to still floor it. Multiply that in by all this down here. 2 radiograph exponentials, which is where I get this like circle cut out of the middle. Down here, this is actually where you can like blur the edges or make it darker. So you got the actual radius and the density. So it's how big the circle is and then how dense it is. This one, it has a radius of 0.5 and its density is 1. And then I have a radius of 0.5, which is technically half the inside, but you know, it looks like it's more than that because, pi, so it actually looks like it's like 2/3, but And then invert density, plug that in so that it actually gives a sharper edge on the inside, and that means two sharper edges meets and it cuts out this circle real nice, gives you this little blur on the outside. That's what this subtract does right here. And then darken it all up, multiplied it, because it's got two overlapping like hazy areas that create everything, so you just darken all that up. Multiply those together, put them in the opacity. And this material is actually set for a user interface translucent. So technically you can actually mess with this a little bit if you come down here and change this multiply. If you want to be able to see through it a little bit or anything like that, you can actually do another scalar value right here if you want to. I might actually, just on principle of showing you, set up one, I pressed 1, held it down, right click, I clicked, and then I move a bunch of stuff around because the mouse doesn't know when I'm clicking or not. There you go. Right click, convert to parameter, and we'll make this darkness. Actually, we'll just call it transparency. And it just deleted the whole thing. Oh man, I am tired of struggling. I'm going to open up a lemonade stand as soon as it's hot and try to pay the mortgage with it. Going to hustle all the kids in the neighborhood for all their loose change on lemonade. Transparency, I'm close enough on spelling if I'm off. Default value 75. But like as you can see in this little preview note, it's very light, so you can't see it. So that's how you darken that up. I deleted those things out up here and just put red in here for a health bar. Alright, now then, there's a progress bar. And there should be a blue color. Nope, that's not how you do this one. Anyways, thanks for watching my videos as I relearn how to do this. If you're learning this the first time, sorry I'm not the best tutorial for it. Because I don't just go straight through, but hopefully it lets you also keep up and not feel bad that, you know, it's actually a struggle. Okay, it's an image, player stat bar. We'll make it something like this. I'll probably put like a screenshot of her head in there eventually. It's very much what I'm doing in Mage Hunter, but just a plain circle like that feels weird. Needs a, yes, I'm shamelessly name-dropping Mage Hunter. Go watch that. The videos are horrible. It's when I'm first starting off and just showing things to people I talk to online and stuff. I actually just chose the wrong material because that one doesn't work. That is actually just the player stat bar. Apparently, I haven't, at the stage that my project was last recoverable from, even made the stat bars yet. So that's depressing. That's all that is. Create material instance, player stat bar, and material instance. There you go. And we'll open this one up and I'll show you some of this stuff, like the clockwise. For some reason breaks this thing. It shouldn't, but I fixed that at some point a long time ago. But yeah, the complete range. Go health. On health. There you go. And it looks like it's still on the stuff. But whenever I actually move this down, you'll see that it actually moves the health bar down. And that was a little weird. Okay, the clockwise stuff actually just fixed itself. It hadn't loaded in yet, but there we go. It actually fills in the bar. The start point, I think if I pull this open just a little bit, but these are why they're actually parameters. You can actually change them on the fly and everything. Start point, it's set to 0 right now. You can see that I'm actually able to move that wherever I want to start it. I keep it kind of down here at this little angle, because straight down seems just kind of plain. I will actually probably go and make something that isn't quite perfectly circle and change like the start value where it'll actually, like, because the start point you get here, or the completion range, and you can actually change like where it is full now. See, and I'll probably do something like a little bar that comes out or something, or like a little logo that says D1827, like a name tag or a toe tag or something. But yeah, maybe even like the SCP logo right here and have this kind of like loop around it. I could actually do an SCP logo and actually like gradient it too. Wouldn't be too bad, but that allows you to do that so that it's all pretty customizable. You got the starting point, transparency here. You can actually see I can dim it down, which you're going to be able to see through it actually on the UI, which is pretty good for mobile. But you can also take it way up here, and it makes it a solid thing instead of this nice kind of faded edges where it looks pretty good. That wasn't set to 75. That's where it needs to be. There we go. And then if you hit this little tick box and you drain the health, it should go the other way. It should be going the other way. There it goes. Wow. It's just being slow about catching up. But I want it to go clockwise. I want it to be about where I set it for right now and everything, but that's that. And that's actually the material you're going to use over on that image. And anytime you update health, you'll just send your health over to the little function that we're going to create, and it'll calculate the percent, because you saw I didn't actually get the number changed in there apparently, so it'll just be a little quick math to get the percent and plug it right into the dynamic material instance into health, and it'll automatically update wherever the bar should be. Player stat bar instance. We go over into the graph, and we already got the function in here for update health or set health, which first thing I need to go over to event graph, find event construct, and we're going to actually do a create dynamic material instance. As far as I know, you have to make a material dynamic one, otherwise you can't just change it at runtime. Then we'll do the player stat bar instance. So we got that. I'll go ahead and promote it to a variable just in case we ever need it anywhere. Put the variable, and we'll name that actually like the player health material. We'll know what it is and everything. And it's all already right there. Plus, oh yeah, I'm going to be using the function anyways. Alright, so we go find set health. Get in that function. And anytime we call that, we're actually going to go over here, and we're going to set I didn't rename that, but for now it's image 21, which will be the health bar. And it's going to be, I believe, it's set brush. No, brush is actually just the plain color. Probably set image. Where exactly is it under now? It should be under, let me get it renamed also. Should be brush image. Okay, I think I have to actually get the brush, I guess. Get brush. Set image. There we go. Draw as image, set tiling, UV mirrors, targets will be this one. In-brush tint, in-brush image. So if that's where I'm going wrong, you actually have to split that spin structure because it's like got it all in there. Target is the player health bar. Sorry, that took me a second. That's headed the right direction. It's been a while. So now it's set to that dynamic one that we create that has this variable and everything. And then we go over to set health. All right, and physical material health, dynamic material instance, get it out here. We get that, and we can actually just set parameter value, and the name of it was health. All right. And usually when I call this, I actually want to just be able to pass the value straight into it because the damage or whatever will be over in the character stuff. So I create an input and float. We'll name it health. Or actually, I'm going to name it new health, just so whenever it's in the other stuff and everything, it's a little easier. Set health, new health, you'll be able to tell. It's just a little clarity later, which I'm still working on improving compared to just throwing stuff down and leaving it in default names and regretting it later. Alright, so I am thinking about just going with some solid percentages and stuff, but just in case, is there actually a node for this? I don't think there's a node that just does it right away, but text as percent, nope, but I mean, it's easy enough. You know, cross multiply and divide for anybody that doesn't know. So like your new health would be new health out of whatever your max health is. And then your, percentage is 100% out of 100%, and you cross multiply and divide to find out what the actual percentage is. So the 100% is always on the bottom, and your current percent over the 100 is what you're looking for. I need a draw on screen kind of thing where I can just while this is going on. We're going to open Krita for stuff like that. Quick math lesson, just in case somebody young is watching, but the new health will actually be new health times 100. So you pull this out and do float times 100 because that's the maximum percent is 100. And then you're going to divide it by whatever your max health is. So this, cross multiply, divide, yeah, okay. And then so we'll do float. I had to picture it in my head again. That's why just knowing cross multiply divide is important. It's not hard. Better having it set here than looking like an idiot on YouTube and having a bunch of people like, don't know middle school math. No, I don't. I don't want to talk about it. But I did go on and learn some calculus and trig. Just there was a whole problem with that stuff, and suddenly moving me up to algebra without pre-algebra and not having any clue about why I suddenly had letters inside my math. But this right here, we will actually pull this off and make a new variable now, promote to variable. This isn't necessary really because you can just type that number in there, but like I'm going to expose it on spawn and I'm going to name it max health in case I do change how your max health can be later. And also if you're doing anything where you have different characters spawning it, when that character creates this viewport now, you can actually pass whatever that character's max health is, and then anytime it updates. So it is a ease of use, deal with it later. And like right now, I'll set it to 100 because that's just currently what my plan is. Gotta mark it as editable. Alright. But just so you see it, and then I'll show you in the other, back over in the character blueprints, the spawning of that again. Or the creation of this widget again real fast. Alright, my quick math lesson. What are you doing? I definitely did not open simple object. I don't know where this keeps coming from, but it keeps wanting me to make simple objects apparently really badly. It's probably a plugin that probably has something when I click on something, but character asset, nope, blueprints, character logic. I'm not going to teach cross multiply and divide. We're just already going over here now, so if you have questions in the comments, I'll make a video for you. I don't want to like sound like I'm patronizing people. I just know some people don't have the benefits in some places of the world of public education. Some people might be kids out there, you know what, because I am pushing my friend to let her kiddo update and actually start doing this, and I'm always like, hey, let him watch videos and stuff. He might end up watching my videos, and you know what? He's young enough that he doesn't know cross multiply and divide, so I'm sorry. Alright, so you would actually have your current health. I just saved her a homeschool lesson right there. You would have your current health, which I'm going to call just H. This is your current health. And you would actually have it over, which out of your maximum health. All right, and then you would have whatever the number we're actually like looking for, like for a percent right here, out of 100. There we go. And you cross multiply, and then divide it by that number. And the fact is, he probably already knows because she's a great homeschool teacher. But just in case, I mean, kids over there making all sorts of stuff in Minecraft, dungeons and stuff, just to drive his sisters crazy. Which is why I'm like, get him some real tools. Like Minecraft is actually quite a fun building thing, but it's just not a great game in my opinion. No offense. It just kind of died out after the new stuff was done. Should have had some great stories and levels and all that kind of stuff going on in it. And there's still people that make stuff, but it wasn't like a game. I was really looking forward to EverQuest Next, but apparently when you put all the stuff together that I love about like things like MMOs and Minecraft and tessellations and stories and explosive environments, put them all together, it's not fun. Alright, fall damage. I put that on the end right there of that one, so I could actually do this real fast, and it should be alright. But we're going to really quick add a new variable. Player health actually is going to get put back to a float because all the stuff is in a float. It'll be fine. It's not going to destroy the world. We're going to make the default value 100. I'm going to get the stamina inside the player stats because I swore I did that. This will be a max health. float, and it'll go inside the player stats. It took me a while to learn how to do these little things over here because I mean it's right here, but I even forgot now that you can actually type in that drop-down menu. It feels like you should add something to the list elsewhere, but I mean that's really convenient. It just never dawned on me that you could just add it right in there. Alright, so we got our max health, and of course that'll currently be 100. So fall damage is not what we're doing right now. We're going to go find the create widget, which I just typed in, create widget, pulls it up right here. And see, it's actually got the max health now. So right whenever you create it, you can actually do this. And then on any time the max health is updated somewhere, like, oh, you leveled up, your max health increased, you can actually just pull this player UI, set max health, reset it. And then probably call the update health thing because their whole health bar, they probably get some health back at least or whatever, but that makes it real easy. Alright, so there's actually, we're going to create a function just to keep it all in one nice little place. I don't think I want to do it there actually, because you actually have this nice event and having it inside of a function. I'm probably just going to make a subgraph or add a graph. There we go. And that way I can just have everything over here for handling health and damage. Health and damage. I'll probably put the stamina over here and everything. Health and damage. We'll still do some functions and everything, but they're going to be just over here. I'm going to go ahead and add fall damage to a category, just health and damage for any of them I make. Organized is great. It helps you find stuff when you know it's like, see, I at least kind of have an idea of where I should be looking for some of these things. You still have your search down here. I learned the ALS version 3 inside out during remaking it multiple times. I would like to say that I can make one myself, but I can't because, God. But, alright, so there is actually a, I can take the mesh, and I'm pretty sure there's one on this one. Nope. It's on the capsule, isn't it? Or is it on the actual character? Should be a can be damaged. Selected. There should be a event on damage. Ooh, I wonder if they. Then they found out they depreciated on damage. Can be damaged. Cast a damage type. We'll probably do that. Make some damage types eventually, but not yet. Calculate damage. It's got a fire calculate damage. What is this for? I think that's out of the weapons component that's in there, and it's probably like when you fire the weapon. Game damage, event any damage, and it actually gets called whenever this actor is damaged. And then for right now, we'll keep it short and simple. We will definitely, because this is one of my favorite areas to actually play in and add some differences and like padding and resistances and all that kind of stuff. But on any damage, or event any damage, player UI, update health. that's right. I actually need to make a. I don't want the weapon component. I want the weapon component system. Looks like it probably already has a health bar in it. I did create a function over there, right? Set health. Yeah. There you go. Did I compile? Compiled. Set health. Wasn't saying it. Too many health things in there. Weapon component's really complex. It's pretty easy to just straight add it to something and have your weapon systems working, which is mostly what I'm going to do. But I will show you through it whenever we get there, of the things I understand of it. I'm off in another project trying to do some pretty crazy things with pretty complicated bullets and an extra inventory system added onto the weapons attached to you inventory system, and it gives me headaches and nightmares to this day. I had parts working perfectly that just broke because I changed something completely unrelated, which just always feels weird to me. It's like, how does that affect that? And I'm sure somewhere in that jungle there is a perfect explanation, but I haven't found it yet. And I did some just crazy, not good stuff there. I'm going to need to make a current health also variable, which is actually health. Sorry, we've already got. I'm pretty sure that variable was just outside of that group. All right, so it'll be damage. It'll be current health. Get current health minus damage, and then we'll set health. And then I just plug the little exit from the set health into the function for set health. That way we're keeping track of the variable over here and everything. It makes it a little easier doing save stuff later because it's all in this character and we can actually save it. And then it'll just re-update whenever it spawns the character. Over in the UI, I will probably actually need to create a update all icons thing, and it'll just run through all the update things on construction real fast, so that whenever you load into a new area or something like that, whenever you have persistence, so that you can just have it stored easier. I do have a plugin that's supposed to is free. It's supposed to save all the stuff. I haven't played with it too much yet. We'll see, because I do level streaming and stuff to try to make the mobile experience better and to use a progress bar, but we will see how that goes whenever I get to that part of this project. But there we go, real simple, sets the damage. And then on fall damage, we're going to go over to fall damage. Whenever fall damage is calculated, which I'm actually going to set it whenever he lands. Like you saw, whenever it switches to the grounded mode, it will check every time. And what we're going to do is, sorry for the HE. I'm going to have a return node over here for sure. Return node. Or not have a return node because I've got, there it is, so much stuff in here now with the components that it's hard to find the stuff. But on fall damage. Alright, we need the, what was that under grounded? Something under grounded that actually told you whenever node jump action into ragdoll. Let's see what exactly which variable he's using. If I type in minus 4,000, it should find it. Alright, so right here, this comment, because I'm actually going to want this speed. Last ragdoll, shoot, that's a ragdoll velocity. That's only a ragdoll velocity. But I can just still get the, what is this actually? The whole float, last ragdoll. But there's going to be a velocity in here, I'm sure, for the actual, see, actually I have to keep track of it. Previous velocity. Or I can use the last velocity rotation. which is going to be all of those put together. Probably just previous velocity. Yeah, because that's cached for a second. So I did have problems with this before. You'd hit the ground, and you're going 0 when you hit the ground, then it would go through the code. So that's already there. He saves it for the last one, so when you know where you were for a second ago, hopefully it saves it long enough. We'll have to play around with it to be sure, but I'm going to get previous velocity. We're going to split this. Alright, the z velocity. I'm going to take the absolute value because otherwise it's negative. Yeah. The absolute value of this float. And then we're going to multiply by something. We know he stops at 4,000. Just for now, I'm going to divide it by 100. So if you're at terminal velocity, which typically kills a person, but not always, we will take 400 points of damage. I'm going to do a random float in range. And I'll set that as your actual maximum. And then we'll do like a quarter of it. No, we'll do 5. Because there are people that have survived some crazy falls. Usually there's trees or some soft earth or something involved, but I'm just mimicking that right there. Even though the ground is obviously not going to smush into your character, you might end up just being super lucky, and we'll just pretend. And that's what a lot of game design is just trying to mimic stuff, and we'll get a nice range there. You can actually have anywhere from falling now from at 4,000, that's 400 divided by 5, 80 points of fall damage, which is still just about going to mess up that character, and then up to 400. It's a pretty big range. We'll finalize it later, but just for now, it feels good to me for now is what it is. Alright, and then it's going to be applied damage, I believe, is actually the applied damage, yes. Alright, so base damage, put that in. Alright, and then on these damage causers and stuff, you can actually create like damage class environmental, damage class fire, different things for different results. Really the best thing to do, I think, is damage class is actually kind of setting up the damage class as like fire and actually splitting it off, but it doesn't seem to work quite as smoothly as you would think, and I ended up using a switch on enum or something like that instead. I felt like an area of the engine wasn't quite as developed as it should be. It does work the other way, it's just not great, and you can add other stuff to those little damage class blueprints and stuff that are really cool, like making them smoke and stuff, because they're a class. So yeah. But we will get to all sorts of stuff like that. I'll practice it some more here, and since we've moved up several engine versions, it might be a little better. But damaged actor, since it has nothing, it'll probably say self, but we're just going to put it to be sure, because damaged isn't always self. And then I'll go ahead and return this node. And that was already set for whenever your condition changed to grounded from anywhere else. It's a little bit of math, but it's all multiply time. We don't have exponentials in there, no crazy functions. And the random, I don't even know what the demand on is random. I know my calculators do it pretty quick, so I figure a computer should be able to handle it, even a phone. And on the damage stuff, whenever we're actually applying damage is probably whenever I'll set the in range, and we'll get some actual defense stuff. Whenever we do like the damage classes in, we'll develop like the defense stuff right there. Event Instigator, self again. We might put a damage causer, self. We might get a whole little thing right there for what killed you going on inside the widget. Set damage, damage causer, probably. But it's just set up now for in the future. Plug in, we don't have to come back here. That way, whenever you fall off of something, we can actually have it say things like you killed yourself or you committed suicide. You'll see it in games all the time, but there it is. That's damage causer. Event Instigator is the actual like triggering event. You'll notice it's a controller object reference, so that's that thing. Like the player controller, that, and then actor object reference itself, and that's a reference to this character. I'll probably actually rename this character eventually. I'm scared too because it's really bad about breaking the ALS. If you want to, you almost need to do other stuff, but by the time I make a child and name it something like D1827, it should be okay, and it should be like D1827, like, you know, but on that we'll probably actually break it off like slipped to her death. I don't have any readable text in the UI yet, so I won't worry about that, but that should be enough to go try to jump off this over here. And see what happens. And I don't have mouse capture, so I can't turn the... Let's see if I can manage to get it to enter custom movement mode. Nope, I'm going to have to turn that back on real fast. Health bar looks junky. I'll have to go in and put the instance material real fast. I'll probably do it later. You saw how those things affected things. It'll just be a fine-tuning whenever I'm picking at stuff. But... I want to be able to reorganize this menu on our project settings at the bottom. So it's just down to the last one. Alright, so input, capture all my mouse stuff. I might compile something like this overnight and just throw it up on the store as a extreme work in progress. Alright, so capture mouse on launch, capture permanently, putting mouse down, lock on capture. There we go. But I'm also going to just need a way I can make sure the controls are working. The next video I'll probably show adding the Ultimate Touch interface components. Hopefully it's still free on the store. It's probably not. It's probably like 50 bucks now. Plus my computer is going to need a restart because I'm not touching anything. I haven't touched anything since he was over on the green. Whenever he decides to walk backwards here in a minute, we'll see what happens when I climb. Okay, that should be the end of that. Okay, he's done. So we gotta fix her character mesh stuff. That stuff is horrible and it doesn't. You know, when it gets to be this much of a delay, it just feels like it's not even doing anything you actually asked for. You'll notice that climb down button is currently visible. So probably need to make sure its initial state is set to invisible. I didn't notice until just now that it was actually visible, so I'm not sure if it was after I jumped or not. But it's a quick check and easy and everything. Might need to set it whenever you're actually exit the custom movement, which there actually was. Okay, fall damage, not functioning, because that probably should have been enough to cause fall damage. Also kind of weird that I didn't climb up this time, I just fell over the side. There we go. Oh no. We gotta, oh yeah, some of the animation stuff is broken. It's the first time it's glitched with him. No fall damage. The apply damage thing works. It's just not super great. I'm going to debug it real fast and see if it's actually calling it, and I'll debug also over on the on any damage to see if it's actually doing its little dispatchers that are built into it to do that. Apply damage. Apply damage to self. It should be. But we'll add a breakpoint. So if you ever have problems coding, this is one of the best ways to figure out where it's getting stuck in the blueprint. On health damage, event any damage, come over here to it, add a breakpoint, and we'll see if they even get triggered. I might have to find some other places to actually call it over in the graph, because there was just a place where it's changed from, like, you landed from falling or in air, as it's now, I think it was falling before, to having landed, and it was just plug it in right there, no worry, fall damage was done. But it might not function exactly the same now. I haven't looked back actually at all that stuff and what triggers it. And we'll get some other cool stuff in here. Eventually we'll do a blood splatter. Decals, make it stick to the ground. And they don't like to stick to the ground on mobile. PC Master Race, they stick perfect, they look great. Unless you try to do emissives, they're kind of ugly. But you can actually get them out there on the ground. So far, all my attempts on mobile, they just fall through the other meshes. They don't generate collisions fast enough. It takes a mobile phone a bit to figure out that something like that is actually supposed to stick and stay. And then to even just produce the emissive graphics, like as a little puddle right there, it's just not happy. It's probably not even actually supported. But I know I've seen stuff sometimes that seem like they're there. It's like, hey, the grass turned a little more yellow over in my other projects, but some things actually just aren't officially supported. Like a cloth mesh with cloth assets is now a cloth mesh, and the documentation isn't clear on that. It's like it will use any skeletal mesh below a certain number of bones, less bones, by the way, than a actual game. And I hope y'all are enjoying this, because I'm not. I'm not touching anything. But okay, we're done. I'm gonna have to do a restart and stuff. I'll figure out the fall damage. We'll finish that up and add in like blood splatters, all that kind of stuff. On death, we'll make you ragdoll, and that'll be that. This is my theme song. I know it's not long, but it is my theme song. Oh, I'm still recording.